imaginations that need to be cast down. So we need to make sure that we stay interactive with our kids so that we can know, through prayer God will let us know, but so that we can know about the things that the enemy is trying to do, and we can also prevent some things because they won't have that free time to get into some things that's unnecessary. But sometimes it's more convenient for us to kind of let them just go on their own, especially when it gets hard and they rebelling, and it's like, well, I'm just going to let them fall. No, we're not supposed to do that. We're supposed to correct, and we're supposed to make sure that we impart wisdom. So when they come up against these different things, they'll have the wisdom they need to make the right decision. Amen? So let's not give up on our kids, our grandkids, our family members, young family members. You may not have any kids, nieces, nephews, cousins, all of them. And we're not just excluded to our immediate household. And then this is the this scripture right here, and then we're going to wrap it up. In Deuteronomy 29:15, it says, teach them regularly. Amen. 1 Peter 2:20. It is better to suffer for obedience than to suffer for disobedience. It pleases God when we suffer for obedience than suffering for disobedience. So when we're disobedient, we are going to be corrected. We're going to be corrected by our parents, and parents, we're going to be corrected by God. And the Word of God says that it pleases Him to correct us when we're doing something right. Amen? It pleases God to correct us. So when we correct our children, and even though the outcome may not be good, it pleases God that we, as parents, suffer a little bit for doing the right thing. Amen? Amen. All right. So you can look at this when you go home. Limitations 2:19 and Isaiah 54:13. So we have to remember to cry out for our children. When was the last time you've cried out to God for your children, or your neighbor, or a niece, or anybody? It doesn't have to be a child. It can be an aunt, an uncle. It can be your parents. It can be anyone. When was the last time you cried out to God for an individual? A lot of times we will cry out to God for ourselves. And when we're on the altar, if we go up the altar and ask each person what are they crying out for, what their need is, the majority of the time is probably concerning themselves. But if we start crying out for other people, God will start taking care of our situation in the midst of us interceding for those others who don't know how to fall on their knees and cry out to God. So we have to we have to make sure that we continue to cry out to God concerning salvation and people that's on our heart. In Isaiah, it says that an heritage for the servants of God is that our children will have peace, will have great peace. So if you look at your children or other people's children, or if you look at yourself as a child and you have peace, then you know that your parents or someone in your heritage was servants of the Lord, because that is a promise that is given to us, that if we are servants of the Lord, it says that our children will have great peace. I want my kids to have peace. Amen. Amen. All right. So to wrap everything up, 2 Timothy chapter 3:14-17. And then here it says, to continue what you have been convinced in from a young age, you know the word. It made you wise to accept Christ. So some of us learned about Christ at a young age. Some of us may have learned as an adult. But if we learned about God in our 20s and we're in our 40s now, it still was in our youth. Amen? So it's saying that Continue in what you was convinced in. It was something about the word. It was something about the testimony. It was something about what you experienced with God that made you decide to give your life to Christ. It says continue in that. Sometimes we forget